Hello YouTube! If you clicked on this video, I assume you want to know how to play Nightmare Mode, how to win Nightmare Mode, how to work out the ghosts, everything. So in this video, I'm going to do a full explanation on how you progress from Professional, which is 3 evidences, to Nightmare, which is 2 evidences with 1 hidden evidence. So, the main points of this video, we're going to explain why you play Nightmare in the first place, what exactly is Nightmare Mode and how it works. I'm going to give you some tips on how to win your Nightmare games, which order to bring in items and why you bring those items in that order. And then finally, we'll do a full run through of a Nightmare game live for you, and I'll show you how I get the ghost correct on Nightmare Mode. So by the end of this video, you should be a Nightmare Pro and you should be able to go off and try it for the first time. Before we get into this, I just want to say Nightmare Mode is brilliant. Moving from beginner, intermediate, and professional to Nightmare is a completely different game in a way. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this. Okay, let's run through Nightmare Mode together. So, ghosts will hide 1 type of evidence. Now, this is incredibly important. So, this is the main thing about Nightmare Mode, and this is what makes this completely different to Professional, what you've already been playing. So, ghosts will hide 1 type of evidence. Now, this doesn't just mean that it doesn't show a type of evidence. This means it hides a type of evidence. So, a lot of mistakes I see people who play Nightmare make is they'll get the ghost book not written in, or the ghost will literally kick the book out the way, which is normally means it can't be ghost book. However, that is not true in this game mode. You can't rule out evidence. Like from Professional, you might see loads of doors open and you might be using your UV torch and you don't see any handprints on doors when they're being touched and stuff. This is different. The ghost hides an evidence, so it could be that evidence, but it's being hidden by the ghost. You just need to understand that it's hiding the evidence from you. So if a book gets kicked out the way, that doesn't mean that it's not necessarily a ghost that has that evidence. It just means that it's decided to not maybe show that evidence if it is the ghost that normally has that evidence. So yeah, it hides an evidence. Really important to know. Now, this is what makes the game completely different to Professional, because you need to actually use your knowledge of ghosts to work out what the ghost is. Because you'll get, let's say, dots and orbs, and then you'll be like, there's like 4 different options. And you're like, oh my gosh, how am I meant to work this out? I can't get any more evidence now. This is where you need to know your knowledge of the game. And for that, I would go through every single type of ghost abilities and stuff, but I do have a video dedicated to that, my Ghost Guide video. So if you want to watch that, it's popping up right now. But in that video, I go through every single ghost, all the hidden abilities, speeds, everything, so you can know about the ghost. But let's just talk about Nightmare for now. The ghost room will sometimes change. This is actually really important because some ghosts have an ability where they can't change rooms. That's a Banshee and a Goryo. So this is actually really important and kind of vital for Nightmare Mode. When you get, say, let's say dots evidence and you can't pick between those 2 ghosts. No setup time, short hunt grace period, long hunt duration, kills increase hunt duration. So this is quite interesting. So if you're playing with people, if the ghost kills someone, I believe the time like resets, or I don't really know how that works. It just can hunt you for way longer, not just ending after it kills someone. Sanity pills restore much less sanity. Fuse box starts off and almost no hiding places. So honestly, the thing that kind of annoys me about Nightmare Mode is that it only gives you 4 extra rewards. Now, this is so much more difficult than Professional. Like, once you get the 2 evidences, you need to just work out what the ghost is via its personality. I think they should give more, because this is by far the biggest step up. Professional, intermediate, and amateur are honestly not that different to each other. Once you kind of know how the game works, like watch my beginner's guide, for example, I would honestly be getting onto intermediate or professional as soon as you can for the 3 times rewards instead of 1 times rewards. You'll level up way faster. But moving to professional to Nightmare is a huge step, so you need to be prepared, and this is what I'm going to go through. So obviously you get more XP for playing Nightmare Mode, and more money. So that's a benefit of doing Nightmare Mode. And of course, it's a different kind of game. So I honestly find this way more fun playing Nightmare, Insanity, and No Evidence games. It's no longer just set up your equipment, find the evidence, and leave. This is set up some equipment and then try and work out what the ghost is. Now, on nightmare mode, you still start with 100% sanity. So we're going to go run through what I bring later on. But you start with 100% sanity still like you do on professional, which is actually good because you still have quite a bit of time to set up and find that one evidence before you're probably going to be in danger from most ghosts. So that's important. Now, one thing you're going to have to get over, which I really struggled doing at the beginning, is you're going to have to do hunts. There's no way of being sure about some sort of ghost without doing hunts. So you're going to have to pluck up the courage, because now, instead of avoiding hunts like you were doing on professional, now you need to actually do hunts and make hunts happen using maybe the cursed object. Nightmare does have a cursed object. You're going to have to do hunts. Otherwise, you're not going to work out what the ghost is in many situations. Sometimes you will be able to work it out without a hunt, but most of the time you normally have to do a hunt. If you want to be sure, you almost definitely have to do a hunt to work out what the ghost is. Now, one huge tip I give if you want to start playing Nightmare mode, and I highly recommend doing this before you start playing Nightmare, is play professional, but only focus on getting 2 evidences and then work out the ghost from that. And then once you think you know what the ghost is without the last evidence, then find the last evidence to confirm your findings are correct. This is such a good way of learning how to work out ghosts, and then how to confirm that the ghost you get is correct before you leave. So let's say you're setting up and you get UV and you get ghost orbs. Then maybe do a hunt, or maybe like wait to try and see if the ghost does as an ability or something, and work out what you think the ghost is via how it's been acting in the house, and then go and look for the final evidence and see if they match up. A huge tip. Honestly, this could save you a lot of time and honestly losing equipment and money playing on nightmare mode and getting it wrong. Play professional with 2 evidences, find out what the ghost is via its personality, and then find the evidence. Highly recommend doing that. If you don't do that, you're going to end up playing nightmare mode, getting the ghost wrong, losing money, wasting time, not leveling up. I would definitely do what I just explained. Now, I've kind of explained nightmare mode in the best way possible. Let's get into a game, and I will do a run through of what I take and why, and the order in which I take stuff. Now, when you're making the step up to nightmare mode, I'd also recommend being in a position where you've got mostly tier 2 and tier 3 items. Doing your first few nightmare games on like low tier 1 items is probably not going to work out well. So yeah, once you've unlocked most of the items, honestly, I wouldn't probably be playing nightmare mode for the first time until maybe I'm like honestly level 90, where I've unlocked the crucifix and stuff. This is where it's I mean, you can do it with the tier 2 items. It's just going to be harder than it needs to be. So honestly, I'd be fully ready and set up to go to nightmare mode once you've got all the tier 3 and maybe most of the tier 3 items. This is my go-to loadout. I won't explain exactly why I use some of these tier 2 items. I'll leave that for another video, but let's get into this. Into a nightmare game. Now, one thing you may notice straight away about nightmare mode is these 2 TVs are broken. You can no longer see your sanity, and you can no longer see the activity. So when it comes to nightmare mode, you kind of need to predict in your head what sort of sanity you're on. You no longer get that information, so you have to think, right, did I get ghost evented? That would be minus 10% sanity. Have I used a cursed object, which has drained my sanity more? You know, have I been standing in the dark loads that's drained my sanity faster? You need to be thinking about these things all the time, and I don't even really think about it anymore. I kind of just know what sanity I'm on. So you will slowly but surely learn, kind of understand what sanity you're on just by the way the game has gone so far. But also with like an Oni, for example, you drop 20% sanity if it events you. So you need to be thinking about these things. And in terms of activity levels, you can't see the activity levels. I mean, that doesn't really matter. I don't think I ever really worry about that. There is a way to, I believe, work out twins via the activity board, but other than that, I don't actually find it that useful. So yeah, so you've loaded into your first nightmare game. I'm now going to run through what items to take in which order and why I do it. So firstly, I always take tier 2 headgear because it means I don't have to take a torch in. Like I hold that down with T to turn on your torch. Really important, you want to be able to see. Then I always bring in a lighter because I don't want to forget that I've not brought in a lighter later on. So I always grab these first. Then this is where it gets interesting. So I grab a thermometer. Thermometer, you need to find the room. You don't necessarily need it to find the room, but it's a guaranteed way of finding the room. The ghost room is always colder than other rooms, so I'll always take in a thermometer. Then, with other modes, like in Sanity no evidence, I take an incense. However, on Nightmare, you start on 100% Sanity, so the only ghost that can kill you straight away is a demon if it does its ability. So I don't bother with incense yet. I come back for that later. What I do take is an EMF reader. This can also help to find the room, and you know, it's one evidence item in the house early on, which is good. Then I actually take a photo camera, and the reason for this is because one, I like to go for perfect investigations, so it's good to get in there, and if something gets hit, I can instantly get a picture of it, and that's one interaction, 3-star photo done. But also, if there is the ghost doing an event, I don't want to miss any opportunities to get a photo of the ghost doing an event, because if you do that, you can actually rule out Phantom. So I want to make sure I don't miss any chance to rule out Phantom early game, so I like to bring in a camera first. Also, it means that when I'm looking around the house to try and find out where the room is, if I find the bone, I can get a picture of it and pick up the bone, and that's all done and dusted. I don't have to think about that later on. So this is what I take in first off. Let's head into the house. So what I will first do is go straight to find the breaker, and I'll hold down my thermometer like I'm doing right now to be constantly checking the temperature. And I'm also turning on all the lights. And look, there's the bone. So I can take a picture of that and pick it up. Now I don't have to worry about the bone for the rest of the game. So I'm turning on all the lights leading to the breaker. But the breaker's not here. So we're going to go down to the basement. I'm still holding down my thermometer at all times. And also listening to see if I hear anything that sounds like it could be the ghost room. So far we haven't had any low temperatures. So I'm just going to turn the lights on everywhere and have a little look around. Still hovering around 17, 18 degrees. Let's just check this room again. 16. Okay, it looks all fine around here. Let's keep looking around to try to find the room. Okay, we're getting 13 degrees in here, and all the other rooms have been around 17, 18. So it looks like we're in the bathroom. So what I'll now do is leave my thermometer, turn on my EMF and leave it down as well, and then leave the photo camera there as well. And now we'll go and get some more equipment. We know where the room is. We're going to need that stuff later on, and I'd always recommend leaving stuff in the house, because you don't want to have to run backwards and forwards the whole time. So left that stuff in the house. Let's grab our next equipment. So now I'm back in the van. Let's now go through what we bring in next. So what I bring in is a video camera first. I like to bring in a video camera because technically, and I know this is a little bit precise, but ghost orbs are technically the most likely evidence to get because mimics show ghost orbs as a fake evidence. So I like to just bring in a camera, a video camera early, because one, it's most likely to show ghost orbs out of every evidence. It's technically the most common because of the mimic. However, it's what, like only a tiny bit. But I like to bring a video camera as well, because if it does show ghost orbs, it's a way to confirm the room, because you'll see ghost orbs only in the ghost room. And if it changes rooms, I will be able to quickly check the video camera and be like, right, the ghost orbs aren't there anymore. It's switched rooms. So yeah, I like to take in a video camera first. Then I also like to take in a UV. Also, I take the video camera in on a tripod just because I like being able to set it up and swivel the camera a bit if I want to. I then bring in UV torch. This is really important as well. So I bring in UV, and I like to do it in this order, because let's say you go into the house and you don't have the UV torch on you early, and the ghost opens the door or slaps a window or turns on a light switch, and you're like, oh damn it, I can't check for a handprint or fingerprint because I forgot to bring in, I didn't bring in the UV torch, and instead I brought in a spirit box which you can test at any time, a book you can just put down and test at any time, and dots obviously are a little bit annoying, but yeah, so I like to bring in UV early for that reason, so I don't miss any opportunities with any doors or anything like that. And then I will bring in, honestly, you can kind of choose, but I will probably bring in dots, just because dots can be really tricky to get, and because you're bringing the video camera as well, you kind of set it, you can set up the video camera to look at where your dots are pointing, so you can come back in the van if you're like trying to work out what the ghost is and you don't want to go back in, and you can just check dots and orbs at the same time. So yeah, this is what I'll bring in now. So let's go in. Obviously I'll turn this on to night vision mode, and we'll go to the bathroom, which is currently where the ghost is, unless it's changed rooms. EMF's going off a little bit. Let's have a look in the room. And we have orbs. So there you go. So now I will place this down, and I will have a quick look on it, door or anything with the UV torch. There doesn't seem to be anything. So we'll leave that. And then we'll set up some dots. I'm going to place this. Dots is really tricky in this room. We're going to place this in this corner. In fact, actually, we're going to place it here and point it into the room via this direction. And then move the video camera here. So now we've got a good view of the room. So we've got orbs already, so I can tick off orbs. That's one of the 2 evidences that we're going to get. Unfortunately, actually, because we got orbs, it can technically be a mimic, which will show 3 evidences on nightmare mode instead of 2. That's the only ghost that will show 1 extra evidence to show 3 instead of 2. On insanity mode, by the way, which is 1 evidence instead of what we're currently on, 2 evidences, it will show 2 evidences instead of 1, which one will be orbs and then one will be one of the mimic evidences. So yeah, this can technically be a mimic. We've had it. Okay, and there you go. We had a door open and there's no handprints. So it's unlikely to be, very unlikely to be UV evidence now. Anyway, let's go back out and grab more items. We only need now the spirit box and the book in terms of items. So I'll grab the book. I'll grab a spirit box. I like to bring spirit box in last because with a spirit box, if you speak to the ghost, yokai has a chance of hunting you if you're at around 80% sanity. So I like to bring in the spirit box last so I don't end up getting hunted before I've got everything else in. And also to stop the Moroi curse, because a spirit box, if you talk to the ghost in the room with a spirit box, the Moroi can put a curse on you and then start draining your sanity. So I always like to do spirit box last. Book I'll bring in now, and then I'll probably bring in a crucifix now. I don't think we need an incense yet because we've barely been in the dark. We've barely been in the house much at this point. Obviously, if you have been in the house ages trying to find, like you're maybe on a bigger map and you haven't found the room in ages, maybe I'd bring incense instead of a crucifix at this point. But I'm going to bring in a crucifix now anyway and just cover the room. And I'll get the spirit box. I'll leave there for a second. We'll get the book down. Let's also just quickly check the ghost is still in the room, which it is. Looks like, at least. 13 degrees, 21 degrees. So it's a bit colder in the room, usually next in the corridor next to the ghost room. Yeah. So it looks like we're still in the bathroom. And it's also interacting in there. Now, we're getting a lot of stuff a lot of EMF readings and no EMF 5. So that's something to bear in mind. Obviously, it could still technically be EMF, but it's unlikely. Right, let's try the spirit box. Are you here? What do you want? Are you friendly? Okay, and there we go. We have a spirit box reading. So let's quickly leave the house and put in spirit box. Now, that's it. That's all we're going to get. So now we need to work out what the ghost is via the evidence we have left. Now, you might have noticed that I left the light off in the room the entire time. There's actually a reason for that. I left the room off in that room in case it was a mare. Because mares like dark rooms. And I don't want the mayor to start changing rooms because then I'll have to reset up the evidence and try and work out where it is. So whenever I'm ghost hunting, I like to keep the room that the ghost is in with the light off. 1, to stop the ghost from leaving the room if it is a mare. And 2, because if the light switches on, I can rule out mare. So, yeah, it's either a mare, a yokai, or an onryo. Now, at this point, I would go back in and grab probably some incense to start off with. I might bring some salt in for pictures. And if the ghost could be a wraith at this point, I'd also bring in salt for that reason to rule out wraith. But at this point, this is where you kind of need to understand the ghosts. So I understand these ghosts pretty well. I know that I'm going to have to probably do a hunt here unless we get a mare ability, because yokais you have to test, unfortunately, in a hunt. That's really the only way to test yokai. Mare could do the mare ability, which is instantly flick the light off when you turn it on. Or the ghost could turn on a light, which means I could rule out mare. Onryo. Sorry. What did I just say? Oreo, we can do an Oreo test, which is what I'm going to do in a second. But firstly, I'm going to bring in some incense. I'm going to bring in some salt. And honestly, at this point, I might bring in 2 incense just to be safe. Like, honestly, if you don't know what to bring in, just bring in more incense. That's kind of the rule I go with. So I'm going to leave an incense just here. Door's just been moved. I've got an incense on me. We're going to place some salt down for pictures. So hopefully the ghost walks in there. Let's just check what the challenges are. Have a member of your team escape the ghost during a hunt, cleanse the area near the ghost with incense, and detect sound with a parabolic microphone. That's nice and easy. We'll be able to do that pretty quickly. So we wait for the ghost to walk in the salt. We'll go back into the van real quick. Oh, there we go. Ghost has walked in the salt. We'll get pictures of these real quick. Okay. I'm going to leave everything in the van. I always do that. Let's go back to the van and let's set up an Oreo test. Now, again, what I'm kind of explaining now is just kind of what I've been left with here. So I've been left with Mare, Yokais, and Oreos. So I'm going to have to just use my ghost knowledge to work out what this ghost is via its personality. Obviously, if it's your first time playing Nightmare, you're like, how on earth am I meant to pick? But this is where, again, my ghost guide is really important. Yokai is deaf. Therefore, if I am in a hunt and I use my electronics or my microphone, the ghost won't wander towards me unless it's really close to me and senses me. But in general, if it's, I think, further than 2.5 meters away, it won't sense that I'm there. If I use my global push to talk button or my microphone in general, or have it like my torch on or anything, it won't wander to me. So I can test that in a hunt. And then Oreo, we're going to have to do an Oreo test for. So in this situation, I'm going to bring in 3 candles. I'm going to light all 3 candles. And Oreos can hunt at any sanity as long as it blows out 3 candles. It doesn't have to be 3 different candles. It just has to be 3 candles. So I'm going to place the crucifix just there. I'm going to place these firelights around it. These have a radius on them, so these technically still work, even though they're not in the ghost room. So what I do now is I pick up my camera and my incense. I wait for it to blow the lights out. So this is what we're going to do now. We'll check on the photos. We've got another photo to take of Salt there. Let's get that. Okay, so it just chucks something. Take a picture of that for another 3-star interaction photo. There's 1 candle. There's 2 candles. 3 candles. And I think we've just confirmed an Oreo. So, if you don't know what just happened, Oreos can hunt within 6 seconds of 3 firelights going out. So once it blows out 3 firelights, it has 6 seconds to hunt you. If it does hunt you in those 6 seconds, it's more than likely an Oreo. If it doesn't hunt you in those 6 seconds, then it can't be an Oreo. So the only reason why I say it's probably an Oreo if with what it's just done there is because any ghost can hunt you if you're low enough sanity. So honestly, I've had times where I've done an Oreo test like we've just done there, where 3 firelights have gone out and then it's hunting me because I'm too low sanity and it just decided to hunt me at that moment. So what I tend to do is 2 Oreo tests just to be certain. So you know what, we'll do that. Okay, and we have the camera here. We can get a photo of this ghost. There we go. So at this point, we would also be able to rule out Phantom. But we're going to do 1 more Oreo test just to be certain, see if this ghost is an Oreo or not. So let's grab my... Okay, I've got my camera on me. I've got my incensors on me in case it does hunt me. And somehow outside of the range of the cruci. So let's wait to see if the ghost blows out the firelights again. Once it does that, and if the crucifix goes off again within 6 seconds, then it's more than likely an Oreo. There's 1. Also, Oreos are more likely to blow out the candles more frequently. I believe they can blow out the same candle under 20 seconds, whereas all other ghosts can have a 20-second cooldown. So, yeah. Again, this is where a ghost guide is important. This is obviously just a tutorial for nightmare mode. There you go. There's another one. If this one goes out and it hunts me within 6 seconds, it's usually instant, then it's probably an Oreo. Let's go. There we go. Okay. And we got loads of photos here as well. We've got all our photos now. All 3-star photos are done. We know it's an Oreo because I'm definitely not that low sanity. Now, let's get a hunt going. So, because we're in nightmare mode, we can use the cursed object, or you can sit in the dark and let your sanity drain and wait for a hunt. Now, for fun, I'm going to go grab the cursed object. Let's see what it is. Okay, so we have a Ouija board. So, we're going to do a hunt because we need to do it for the challenges. Escape the ghost during hunts, incense the ghost, and then we need a parabolic microphone sound. So what I'm going to do is leave the Ouija board here, grab my incense, leave it kind of by the room in case it hunts me when I'm here. I can quickly grab the incense. We'll leave the camera there as well. Why not? And we'll go quickly grab a parabolic microphone for the challenge. And 2 more incense because we've got all the photos, so we don't need any more salt. And let's head back in now. Let's sit and wait for the ghost to make a parabolic microphone sound. Whisper. And there we go. Right, we've done the challenge. That took so long. Okay, let's get the ghost to hunt us. So I'm gonna turn this on. Hide and seek. Here we go. Right, it's gonna count down. And then we're going to get a hunt. So I need to cleanse the area near the ghost using incense and have a member of your team escape the ghost during hunt. So we need the ghost to look at us and then we can incense it. It's going to be a longer hunt, obviously, because this is a cursed hunt. Now, one thing I could test for Yokai right now, just to be sure, I could use my electronics, and she's ran straight to me. So, again, not a Yokai. Yokai wouldn't have ran straight to me, and we can test that twice by doing it again. And it's turned around and walked straight to me again. So, there you go. Not a Yokai. Unfortunately, we've got the small ghost model, so we can't really see. There we go. Incense the ghost for the challenge. And the ghost is now running off into the garage. So yeah, there we go. We've done the challenge. We've done both the challenges. And now we should be getting a perfect run here. So the ghost will probably end its hunt in a minute. And there we go. Done. And there is a perfect run on Nightmare mode with the correct ghost. Easy peasy. So, oh, hello. Blimey, okay. Okay then. So there we have it. We're going to head back into the van. We'll just obviously double check everything real quick. So yeah, we've done all the challenges. Photos wise, all 3-star photos. Anyway, we've got Oreo. Let's leave. Again, I am sorry, but we've got this thing where we call it an Oreo. For those of you who don't watch the channel, it's probably really annoying you, but you're just gonna have to take it. And there you go. We got it correct. It was an Oreo. Perfect investigation bonus, which, by the way, that also gets 4x'd. So that's why it's so good to get perfect investigation, because instead of 125 30 plus 25, instead of 180 times 4, it's 180 plus 230 times 4. So you get way more money for getting a perfect investigation. So it is kind of worth it. And there you have it. You've just won your first Nightmare game. And that's basically how I do my Nightmare games. That's the order in which I bring items. It makes the most sense. It means you are going to save the most time possible. And hopefully this video has been helpful for you. Do let me know in the comments if you do try Nightmare from this video and how you find it. Do let me know as well if there's anything maybe I missed. And of course, I will acknowledge it in the comments. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this was helpful. I will be doing an Insanity game mode tutorial and how to move from Nightmare to Insanity in the future. So do make sure you subscribe for that. And then I'll also do a no evidence after that as well. So we've got loads of videos in the pipeline. I hope you enjoyed the content. I hope it's useful for you. I do also live stream almost every day at around 4 PM UTC. So feel free to come ask any questions in there or in my Discord. Love you all, guys. See you later and goodbye.